I want to live in Hawaii, but my wife wants to go back home.
Ohana means family.
Family means no one gets left behind. Shout out. 10 months ago, my wife, 25 female, daughter, and I, 27 male, moved to Hawaii for a job. It's 2-year contract. I can renew it, or we can go back home when the 2 years are up. Living in Hawaii has been absolutely amazing for us financially. I make almost double my previous salary, have more PTO, bigger bonuses, and lots of guaranteed overtime pay. Housing is also paid for, which it's not back home. By the way, this comes from Data Dates Datey, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. Let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, it's also effing Hawaii. We live in a luxury apartment minutes from the beach. We can see the beaches and mountains from our bed. It's stunning. We have become outdoorsy folks because it's just too beautiful not to be outside.
I do imagine, just because I know people who live in Hawaii, and unless you're a local, you know, and you have like family there and stuff, I do imagine it's quite isolating though.
Which I do think we're about to find out.
That makes sense.
I want to know where they're from originally.
Yeah.
The only issue is the people. My wife is pretty alone. She's struggling to make friends. I have lots of buddies from work, but not a single one is married or in a committed relationship. She has really tried to push herself to befriend other moms in the area, and she's found a few, but nothing feels genuine, she says. They all feel like forced friendships to her. She's not some antisocial weirdo. It's just kind of hard to find new friends as an adult. We have only lived one other place, the town we grew up in. We were surrounded by old friends and family. She was also in school and working back home. She's done with school now and hasn't gotten a job since our daughter was born. She definitely wants to go back to work, but she wanted to wait until our daughter could talk before we put her in daycare. I want to renew the job contract 100%. My wife does not. She wants to go back home. I feel like I cannot go home. I have no desire to live in a tiny little washed-up town while we are literally getting paid to live in paradise. I know having friends and family is important when you are a new mom. Baby is 16 months old now. But I feel like if we stuck it out 2 or 4 or 6 more years, she'd have real friends here in Hawaii. Again, let me emphasize, we are living in a luxury apartment in Hawaii for free.
You could be living in a castle for free and it wouldn't really make a difference.
And it sounds like you have friends, so you don't feel isolated like she does.
She's a mom who, stay-at-home mom, you know, is not going out for work, doesn't really know anyone there, and you have friends and you are working full-time, presumably. I imagine that would be incredibly lonely.
Yeah, she's just home with your baby who can't even talk yet.
Yeah, she's like giving all the gossip to the baby, and she's like, baby doesn't even say anything. God.
And Kim Foyne, me and Keon did dress up like Lilo and Stitch, and he was Lilo.
Yeah. Good Morning Petty Potato says, sounds like a military base. I had a cousin who was married and lived on base in another state. I won't give like too much details, but in another state. And found it incredibly lonely because she didn't really know anyone. He was always, you know, doing military stuff. And, like, the only people she knew were the wives or girlfriends, which, I mean, like, sometimes the people that you get forced to, you know, be friends with aren't necessarily people that you would get along with. You know, like...
It sounds like a military base. The paying for housing and stuff, too. Maybe he's not living on base, but...
Yeah.
If we continue to do this, our financial situation will be set. How do we compromise on this? I can't help but feel like my wife is crazy for wanting to give this all up. If nothing else, moving back home is a bad financial move for us. I think my wife will like it more once she gets a job, but that won't be until much later. Any advice is appreciated. Top and relevant comments. Commenter 1, you are less than halfway through your current contract. Why does the decision have to be made now? True.
Also, a good point. Yeah, I was going to say if you wanted to, you know, give her an actual deadline of saying, like, if you can stick this out for 6 months, if you can stick this out for a year at max, then I will absolutely, you know, if and you're still not happy, then yeah, let's go.
How about as God says, or a shipyard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also say, like, encouraging her to try maybe more local hobbies or, like, getting into more of the culture of Hawaii so that, like, she could maybe find local friends that don't necessarily have to be married to your friends to be her friends.
Absolutely. Very great point. Yeah, I think the compromise to be made here is not, you know, we stay here and you figure it out, or we leave and we figure out the financials. It's like, let's set a date and see if we can actually figure something out that, you know, she's not crazy for not wanting to live here and wanting to be around her family. That's not crazy.
I'd say drop it for a few months and focus on trying to support your wife and help make friends with families with kids if you can. Opie says, we have to apply to have our contracts renewed in 2 months. Well, then you have 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months.
2 whole months to think about this.
Yeah, start like actively working to help her want to stay. Because right now it feels like you're just like, why don't you want to stay? You're weird.
Yeah, of course you'd think that. You have all the friends there. Commenter 2, need more context on why you're so employable in Hawaii. OP says, I work for the same company I did back home. They just do work in Hawaii too. The options are Hawaii, Croatia, and Va. It's random, but it's just where we have long-term contracts. Commenter 3, what kind of gig is this? Cowbot, nailed it. Shipbuilding and repair. Downvoted commenter. She definitely doesn't need to wait to put her kid in childcare to get back to work. Why wait if she needs social interaction? Opie says she refuses to use childcare before our daughter can talk. That is my wife's choice, stemming from some harmful situation she faced as a child. We have an update over 7 years later.
Oh, damn. Do we think they're still
take your
together?
guesses.
Do we think they're still in Hawaii?
I think they're in Croatia.
Oh, you think they just moved up? And honestly, she probably could find more people in Croatia.
I just think with what he wanted, he doesn't want to go back to just like Virginia life. So he wants like the tropical-esque, and not that Croatia's equivalent to Hawaii, but it's not Virginia.
Freaking beautiful there, though.
And then she can try again. And then maybe she was like, I'll give you 2 more years in Croatia. If not, it's Virginia, buddy.
All the way Virginia, and you're gonna have to deal with it.
Let's see. I know everyone's been waiting for the update. 7 years later, LOL. Found this account while clearing out old passwords and figured I'd update. Well, we moved. Happy wife, happy life wins again, LOL. Sometimes things you say I don't like, dude. He's just like,
Times you just piss me off.
she was really sad and lonely.
Yeah,
I
I
can
guess we gotta
understand
make
that.
her happy.
We moved back home for a while and we both hated it. Thankfully, I was on a 6-month contract, so I got to relocate. We chose South Carolina this time. It wasn't great either. We liked the location. Weather was nice, scenery was nice, good stuff for our daughter. Nothing to write home about, but nothing to complain about. The punter for us was the work contracts there. The pay was the lowest of all locations. The ability to get overtime wasn't always there, less PTO, and the company didn't really give a dang about this location. So day-to-day operations were a crap show. We were there a year. Next contract I signed for Florida. What happened to the cool ones that you mentioned, like
Literally,
Croatia?
you said like Croatia, and now we're just like hopping around the states.
Yeah, the
South
southern
Carolina?
East Coast.
I don't know. Okay, sure.
Never in my life did I ever think I'd pick Florida, but I did some travel for work there and we had a nice time. This was a new location, so it was rusty work-wise, but the benefits and pay were above South Carolina. So now we live in a beautiful house. I can fish with my daughter off the dock in our backyard. My wife never did start working, and we're happy with that. And by the way, I'd be happy if you guys went and listened to more full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime. We've got a little bit left.
Okay, then. So that was a big old switch up.
Just to find their way to Florida.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of stories where people are like, and we moved to Florida and we're now very happy. But good on you. I guess someone's got to be.
Someone's got to live there.
Someone does.
Maybe you get a nice little in-state Disney pass for you and your daughter.
Yeah,
I
go
don't know how
fishing.
close you are to Disney where you are.
Yeah, good question.
That said, she still sucks at making friends, LOL. We're now at the age that we are mostly okay with that. Since we live on the same coast as our family now, we can visit and have them visit more often. I don't really consider my coworkers my friends like I did back then, so we're in the same boat as far as friends go. We've made some through our kids, but they're not BFFs for life status. I never did grow tired of Hawaii, but I was okay with it once it was time to leave. Really glad the wife and I are on the same page about not living in our hometown. Going from Hawaii to plain old suburbia with all the seasons was bleak. Florida has its issues, no doubt, and it's the last place I'd ever thought I'd settle down, but it worked out. That's the end of that.
There you go.
Glad it worked out.
My ex ruined my credit, so I'm sneaking back into his house in disguise.
Yes, it's totally not me, your ex.
I, 28 female, and my ex-husband, 26 male, divorced almost 2 years ago. Let's call him Chad. Overall, it was amicable, and we were civil, reasonable people, so we didn't need to get lawyers involved. I should have. By the way, this comes from Phoenix Dino, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Savannah. And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, before we divorced, we bought a house together, which we agreed he would get in the divorce, largely because it was his income that was paying for it. When signing the divorce papers, our notary or realtor, let's call her Becky, notified us that the divorce decree acts as the title transfer, but that Chad would need to refinance so that I'm no longer financially liable for the loan. A few months later, surprise, surprise. Surprise. That's exactly what I was thinking of. He still hasn't refinanced. I reach out to Chad consistently over the next couple of months, and he finally takes care of it and tells me as such. I believe him because despite our differences, I believed him to be an honest person. However, I checked my credit report just in case and found the house still on it. But Becky informed me that it might take a few months for it to come off. So I made a mental note to check it again in a few months. Well, a few months goes by and I get a call from Becky and she gives me some news. She's been working with Chad to sell the house and recently got an unsolicited call from the bank who needs access to the house to appraise it. Confused, Becky calls Chad to see if he knows what's going on, but he's been actively dodging her calls for weeks, even though she's literally trying to help him sell his house. So Becky calls his mother. Mother is able to immediately get Chad on a 3-way call with them, and Becky asks about the appraiser. And Chad tells her that maybe he missed a payment at some point or something, but he'll look into it. They hang up on the 3-way call. Chad calls Becky back right away and tells her that actually he's missed 4 mortgage payments and the house is currently in foreclosure.
Chad, what?
Sorry, what would you say? Now for the part you've all been waiting for. Why is Becky calling me and telling me any of this? Well, you guessed it. He never took me off the loan.
I'm so shocked.
Yeah. He did go to the bank to refinance and take me off the loan, but when they informed him that taking me off would raise his interest rate, he actively decided to keep me on it, and then lied to me and said otherwise. So yeah, this foreclosure is also messing with my credit. At this point, I'm raging mad. I get a lawyer, but it's too late. We look through my divorce decree, and because I didn't get a lawyer in the first place, the divorce decree doesn't explicitly say anything about him needing to take me off the loan. It only states he gets the house. So the only thing I can legally do is sue him. However, I called a realtor friend of mine that has no ties to Chad, and she tells me something interesting. She runs a title commitment, and for whatever reason, I was never taken off the title. So technically, I still have rights to the house. Fast forward to present day, I'm currently working with Becky on the sale of the house. We applied for a short sale with the bank, selling the house for less than what we owe on it to attract a buyer as fast as possible. This will still affect our credit, but the impact is less than a foreclosure. The short sale got approved, so we now have less than a month to find a buyer. Well, Becky had informed Chad that the house needs to be show ready, clean, pets put up, etc. at all times. She even had someone interested in taking a look at it. But when Becky called Chad to ask if she could show the house, Chad informed her that she can't show the house because he didn't crate his dog. Dude, just put your dog in the car. Chad keeps saying that maybe they should just let the house go and let it foreclose. Shut up, Chad.
Do your only job, Chad. Take me off the house.
It's gotten to the point that Becky is asking Mother for help with the dog Because Chad is so deep in denial, he refuses to cooperate with her unless Mother is involved. After hearing this, I am legitimately scared that he is bound and determined for foreclosure. He's generally a very avoidant person and avoids conflict and problems of any kind. This is one of the many reasons I left him in the first place. It is impossible to get him to face anything. So I told Becky that while I'm in town, I live out of state and am only in town for a month visiting friends, that I am more than willing to house sit while he's at work, clean the house, walk his dog, it doesn't matter. I will do anything to compensate for his dumb butt if it means my credit won't suffer. I even told her that if he's not comfortable with me being there, I will hire a house sitter if need be. I don't have money for that, but I do have connections in the local film community. So I had an unhinged idea.
Oh my god, it's going to be an actual good disguise.
Oh my god, wait.
I thought it was going to be a really silly disguise. You're about to Miss Doubtfire this place.
Thinking that exact thing. Mrs. Doubtfire, this is Count Olaf. You're about to go crazy. What if I house it as someone else? Disguise myself as an old lady. This is Doubtfire. Get color context, a wig, wrinkle makeup, literally to just clean and walk his dog when the house is being shown. He might not even go for the house sitter idea, so I had another one, but I'm unsure what kind of consequence there would be. Since I'm still on the title and technically have rights to the house, I have half a mind to just show up and tell him it's my house too, and just straight up live there while I'm in town. By the way, you can straight up listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But we've got a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts?
I do feel like you can probably just show up to your own house and live in it, but I really want the Mrs. Doubtfire plan, so I'm going to say that one.
Yes. I want you to do the Doubtfire plan, please. Please, and then tell us how it goes, please.
I do fear you would need some prosthetics, not just wrinkle makeup, depending on how old you are, but...
I think we got to go all in on this.
Yeah.
But we've got an update. To be clear, I have no desire to be around this man. He was horribly neglectful and emotionally harmful. I only want to put the situation behind me. And since he made it my problem, I might as well be a problem for him. I just hate being a sitting duck, just allowing his actions to decide my future. So would I be the a-hole for disguising myself as an old lady, showing up on his doorstep to make our house show ready to sell it? And we've got an edit. Let's see what OP did. Thank you all for the input and advice. Everyone saying that I should just show up and ditch the disguise. Yeah, you're right. Gotta try to figure out if I know anyone in law enforcement that can come with me for safety.
Boo.
I know, boo.
All you Reddit commenters ruined our Mrs. Doubtfire plan.
Come on.
No fun.
It literally says it in the title, so what happened?
What the heck?
I feel cheated.
Me too. The last thing he would expect from what he knows about me would be to show up, so he might just be shocked enough to let me handle the problem for him, and that's the end, but there is no Mrs. Doubtfire. I'm disappointed.
I'm so disappointed.
Do it. Maybe you could still do it now.
Do it anyway.
Please. Please.
Do it for fun.
But that's the end of that story, and we've got another one coming right up.
It is very hard to do old age makeup without a prosthetic, though.
Yeah.
My husband missed our son's birth for another family, so I left without him.
A secret family?
I, 32, had just had our second baby a few days ago, and instead of going home, I asked to be just discharged to my sisters. I don't know if that makes me an a-hole or overly emotional or whatever, which is why I'm here. By the way, this comes from Usual Memory 7983, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Savannah.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. Let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, some background. My husband, 33, and I were teen parents. We had our daughter at 18 and 19. She's 14 now. It's been a long road, and we waited a long time to feel ready to go through it all again. This baby was very much planned and wanted, but ever since I hit the third trimester, I felt kind of alone in it. My husband started spending a lot of time with this couple we know. They're in a similar boat. They had their first as teens too, and just had their second recently. I get that it's a lot for them. Their oldest is 17, and they weren't planning on having another, so he's been helping them out. But it went from a nice gesture to almost daily visits, grocery runs, watching over their newborn while they nap, fixing stuff around their house, bringing food over, and sometimes with our daughter tagging along, sometimes without even letting me know he was going. Meanwhile, I was trying to keep up with everything at home, going to appointments alone, dealing with the mess that is late pregnancy.
That's pretty insane that you're actively going through pregnancy and he's helping another family.
That's a little bit weird to me. I brought it up to him more than once, and every time he'd either say I was exaggerating or that he was there, just not in the way I wanted him to be. So be there in the way she wants you to be.
Like, that's a crazy thing to say to your pregnant wife.
This is your child, your second child with this woman.
Come on, dude.
He kept saying I was being territorial or weirdly competitive about them needing help, which made me question myself even more. I started noticing changes in our daughter. She's an ice dancer and has an intense schedule, and after going with her dad to help at their house, she'd come back totally spaced out. Quiet, eating less. I figured she was just tired, but it started to feel off. She almost fell during practice one morning because she was so drained, and her coach made her sit out the rest of the week. That was a big wake-up call for me. I told my husband that enough was enough. We needed to pull back, not just for me, but for her, too. He apologized, said he'd keep the visit shorter, only go when it was really needed. The visits were hardly shorter, but my daughter seemed less tired, and I could actually go to sleep with my husband some nights, so I counted it as a win. When I went into labor, I called him from the car while my sister drove me to the hospital. No answer. Texted. Nothing. He showed up about 4 hours after the baby was born with a slushie for me. Said he was sorry, but the other couple had a rough night and he didn't want to just leave them stranded.
Immediately divorce. Immediately divorce. I'm sorry. The other couple had a rough night while I was
I just had
giving
your kid
birth
to your kid.
Yeah, immediate done. We're over.
I didn't know what to say. I didn't want a big scene right there in the hospital, but when I could be discharged, I just had my sister take me home since my husband wasn't there. Now he's saying I'm being dramatic, that I'm pushing him for helping people who don't have the support we do.
Oh, what do you mean the support we do? OP doesn't have the support. They have what is supposed to be her support.
They
Because
have
you.
all of it. I know those nurses were raging for your wife.
Oh yeah. They're like, where's the father? Oh, he's helping someone else. Okay.
Do you want him to unalive him for you when he gets here?
Yeah, we can do
We'll
that.
do that. They'll never find him.
Mm-mm.
He told me I'm being cold and that I'm setting a bad example for our daughter by shutting him out. No, you're setting a great example of standards. He also implied more than once that I'm trying to act like a victim when he was doing what any decent person would do. His mom called yesterday and said I should be ashamed for taking the baby away. I never said anything about keeping our son from him. I've told him he can come and see the baby whenever he wants. Yeah, you can make time to go see the other baby.
Yeah, if the mom called me and said that, I'd be like, no, he can come over whenever he wants.
Would you like
did he
to
tell you
hear-
that he missed the birth of our child?
By 4 hours?
Yeah.
Did he
And
tell
then
you he
left
hasn't hung out
again?
with me at all?
He can come over when he wants.
I've been texting our daughter, keeping up with her, and I plan to be back home the moment I've recovered enough. I'm not trying to split our family. I just needed a break. Yeah, you also needed someone to be there to actually help you.
Yeah.
And your sister would do that. He wouldn't.
I think we should break up.
A quiet space to breathe and actually rest. I'm exhausted mentally and physically. But now I'm second guessing myself. Was it wrong to go somewhere else to recover? Should I have just gone home and tried to work it out there? I don't want this to turn into some drawn out fight or drama, especially not with a newborn in the picture. I don't even know if I'm thinking clearly at this point. Edit, our baby is a boy. Sorry. And we have an update.
Divorce. Big old divorce. Capital letters, divorce. Capital, big, shining block letters. Get out of there. Your husband, I don't know if he's cheating or if he just sucks, but he sucks big time.
So 2-ish days after posting, I took my daughter out of school for a few days. I had my sister bring her to her house so we could be in the same space, and I could get a better read on how she was actually doing. I didn't want to come at her all at once, so I let her rest and decompress a bit. Gave her some room to just be a kid again. Sleep in, eat actual food, breathe. Then one afternoon, we were doing dishes and just chatting. and I gently asked what it's really been like at the other couple's place. I told her I wasn't mad, I just wanted to understand. She paused for a while, and then she told me the truth.
Ooh. Ooh.
She's kind of been seeing their 17-year-old son. Not officially dating, but spending a lot of alone time together. She said she'd tried to remind her dad it was getting late, but the boy would pull her aside and they'd end up hanging out longer. She didn't get into the details, but it was pretty clear what she meant by the way she kept blushing and looking away from me. Her being tired all the time suddenly made a lot more sense. I also asked, carefully, if anything felt off about her dad lately, like if he seemed out of it or off in some way or was acting strange during their visits. She said not really, but that she'd smelled devil's lettuce once or twice. Usually when they were finally about to leave, and he was usually really sweaty at the end of it. She didn't seem too freaked out about it, but it made my stomach turn a bit. And by the way, you guys shouldn't freak out because there's always more episodes of stories just like this that you can go listen to. Just go to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime.
Also, how old is OP's daughter? Because people
14, I
He's
think.
14?
Yeah.
Ew.
14 and 17.
17?
Yeah.
That's too big. I don't like that.
Freshman and junior.
Well, I mean, it could also be 8th grade. It's like 8th grade freshman. That's like cusp there, and that's like a
They're both in high
junior or
school. I
senior.
could see it being a little bit okay, but something to be very weary of.
I just don't like that we are finding out like so like 8th grader freshman who is coming home tired. Like to me that sounds like they're doing stuff and the dad's just there.
To me, it sounds like dad is also doing stuff, and then son is just like, I'll distract your daughter while
That's
you
what it
guys keep
feels
doing
like.
stuff. And I'm like,
Just so icky
is
to
the
me.
whole family just in on this?
It feels really icky to me. It feels like the dad is cheating if he's coming out sweaty, and also either to me that sounded like either he is cheating or he is, doing devil's lettuce instead of being there for his wife.
To me, it sounded like devil's lettuce and then cheating.
And then doing kind of a twofer. Yeah.
But we got a little bit left. When my husband found out I'd taken her out of school and brought her to my sister's, he lost it. He accused me of trying to turn her against him and called it parental interference. Like, okay. I told him I just wanted her to rest and have some space. He wasn't hearing it. A few hours later, his mom called me, yelling, saying I was trying to steal the baby, isolate our daughter, ruin the family, etc.
Shut up, Mom. Why are you calling like 50 times? I don't want to talk to you about my relationship with
Go
your
talk to
son.
your son.
Yeah.
Tell your son to step it up. She left this long voicemail about how I needed to bring his children home where they belong. I haven't responded. I haven't told him what our daughter shared yet. I'm still trying to figure out how to bring it up and how to press him for more details about what he himself gets up to during those visits, other than what I figure out from what my daughter said. So yeah, that's where things stand. Messy, exhausting, but a little clearer than before. I'm sorry this is so jumbled. I wrote it after putting the baby finally to sleep. That's
So we
the
don't-
end.
We don't get any clarity on what happened. Do we have any updates?
Can you check, Savannah?
Yeah, I'll check.
That's so frustrating. I don't trust him. I hate that he keeps getting like calling his mommy to, fight his battles for him.
Mom, fix it. I just want to smoke devil's lettuce and get sweaty.
I really don't love the relationship that this daughter is having. It feels like, it's not unheard of for a freshman and senior to get together.
I would need to know when their birthdays are.
Yes.
To know what grades they're in, and like if it's just a 3-year gap right now, and it's like, oh, in a month she'll turn 15, and then there's no gap.
When I was in high school, I always thought it was really weird if like a senior and a freshman were together. I was like, that feels like too big of a
I thought
age
so
gap.
too.
That would be a big gap, but they might be freshman and junior. He might just be old for his grade. She might be young for her grade.
Yeah, but like also regardless of that, I think that just the tired all the time really makes me feel like she's doing stuff that maybe she's not ready for.
Yeah.
And it really is not great if the dad is literally in the house when that is happening.
So it was updated a year ago, but what you read was the update. There's
There's
not
nothing in
another
the
one.
comments or anything.
No, I know. I was trying to go through and everyone's like, update the story, update it. your daughter needs to be tested for all these things, blah, blah, blah. Sweaty.
Yeah. I like it. But that's the end of that story. We got another one.
My family expects my husband to sleep on the floor on a trip they invited us to.
It could be fun. Make a little fort.
Hi, my family, mom, dad, sister, invited my husband and I on a trip over the summer. It's a little under 2 weeks long. They have found it hard to find hotel rooms for 5, so they've booked many for 4, and then asked ahead of time for a cot. By the way, this comes from Plot Twist of 1. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Savannah.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And Opie says, here's the thing. Everyone seems to expect that my parents will share a bed. My sister and I will share a bed, and my husband will sleep on the floor. No. When my brother used to come on these trips, this was our setup, but this isn't my brother, this is my husband. I know my sister would pitch a fit about having to be the one to sleep on the floor, but it feels disrespectful to my relationship to me to have my husband sleep on the floor. On the other hand, my parents are essentially covering every expense, and I guess it's not a big deal.
I mean, if they're covering every expense, maybe you guys just buy your own hotel rooms.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Like, problem solved. Sister has bed to herself. Parents share bed. You guys have your own room.
Yeah, I think when you're adults, I mean, and you if you have the funds, just get a place. You know, there's no need to complain about, not having enough rooms. Let's just get everyone a room.
Dude, that was like when my parents my brother bought my old house off my parents, but like my mom got the condo because she's like, we don't need all these bedrooms, just the two of us, and my older sister, oh my God, drama. She's like, how dare you, blah, blah, like was making them feel bad. She's like, where are we supposed to come? Like, how are we supposed to come there and sleep? Like, we're supposed to spend all this money. And I was like, they're not moving for you. Like, bye. Oh my God, it was so annoying. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can
How
just
crazy
find
are the
Airbnb.
places that you're staying too? Like, are they that expensive that it's like you had to cram 5 in a room?
I'm thinking maybe I also sleep on the floor in solidarity and let my sister have the bed. Or us as a couple and my sister take turns sleeping on the floor. Am I wrong for pushing this? If so, I'll drop it. If not, what can I say to amicably make my stance clear? And we have an edit.
You can say, I'm getting my own room.
Yeah, like literally just go get your own room. We don't need to complain. If they're paying for the expenses, then you just say, hey, I really appreciate it, but I don't think it's fair for my husband to sleep on the floor. We don't really want to do that, so we're just going to get a place nearby.
Yeah, because I can see that your sister might be like, this is how vacations have always been. Why am I banished to the floor?
Yeah.
I can get both sides of it to an extent. Like, husband is the newer one. It sucks. Probably maybe not how it should have worked out, but
Why can't we just get one more bed in this place? All right, folks. I'm still totally lost. I think the most common opinion is that my husband and I should pay for our own room. I'm going to go through the hotels, and if there are any we can spring for our own room in, we'll do so. My family is paying for this vacation because it's about 3 hours away from where we live, and they're coming out specifically to spend time with us, knowing we don't have much in the way of finances. I just got off the phone with my mother, and she isn't sure that both my husband and I will have space to sleep on the floor. What? This is my most preferred option, and I hope to make it work, even if it's a bit crowded. Also, to be clear, when I say the floor, I mean a twin-size air mattress and a cot provided by the hotel. No idea if it's like a camping cot or a pull-out couch or whatever. As for who gets the bed, the answer seems to be very conflicted. A lot of people are saying that my husband obviously has priority, and my sister should be the one on the air mattress, and that insisting he sleeps on the floor is very disrespectful. While a lot of others are saying my husband should be a gentleman and let the ladies have the bed, and that because my sister and I are related to my parents, it only makes sense that we have the bed. A lot of people are saying that this is so weird and they have no idea why we would do this and that it would be miserable. Are you all sleeping in the same room?
yes.
So strange. The hotel is not the focal point of the trip. I'm actually very excited for the trip. Yeah, it's awkward that we're all in the same room. I strongly agree. But also, we are doing some really fun activities that all of us have wanted to do for a long time. We're all very excited for this trip, and my husband and I have thoroughly expressed our gratitude for my family covering the financial aspects of the trip. This was just the part that troubled me, and I thought I could use some advice on it. By the way, I could use your ears to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search for OK Storytime. There is a little bit left of this story, but my solution to this is always Airbnb. Airbnb is like 10 out of 10 times or 9 out of 10 times cheaper than a hotel.
I mean, I wonder what the how far out it is. If you could get a refund, if you can find one, like that could be an option. I also am confused. I see some people being like, yeah, if it's a full mattress on the floor, a full twin mattress just on the ground, maybe sister can sleep in it. And then the bigger, like, it's not like an uncomfortable cot. It's not like you would get a full twin mattress on the floor and a cot. This is all just too dramatic. Just get your own room if you can. It's crazy.
Yeah, agreed. But we've got a little bit left. I think I will ensure that this is not how accommodations are set up on future trips. But for now, we will probably still be sharing the room for the most part of the trip. My husband and I will be on air mattresses and cots and maybe trade off with my sister in each new hotel for the bed. Why did we get you're staying in multiple hotels?
Yeah, for only being 3.
This is ridiculous. Shawnee OP says hotels are cheaper now that Airbnb charges are crazy. It depends where you are. Sometimes hotels can be cheaper. A lot of times
we Airbnb'd in Japan and it was wildly cheaper than any amount of hotels.
Yeah, when I was staying in Europe, my friends and we would go back and forth. I was traveling with 2 friends and we would go back and forth between doing hostels and Airbnbs. And a lot of times for 3 people, Airbnbs were cheaper or the same price as a hostel, which is crazy because the hostels were like, 20 to 40, bucks, depending on where we were.
Granted, if you're shoving 5 people in a hotel room, that might cheapen.
This is true, but there's a little bit left. So we will all get equal time in a bed versus cot or airbed. Though, of course, if my sister disagrees, my husband and I will just take the floor. And we've got an update. Let's find out. Hi. Temporarily deleted Reddit because it was giving me anxiety. The first night, we gave up the bed to my little sister. I think then my father realized how uncomfortable the accommodations were and changed our reservations to be in hotels and Airbnbs with 2 to 3 rooms that everyone was happy with, which was more expensive but immediately worth it. It almost always is. So it thankfully ended up only being an issue for one night. I think we won't sign up to travel with them again unless we know there will be enough rooms. Thank you, everybody.
They probably also learned
Yeah, they were like,
what accommodations they need for that many people.
Our fully adult children and my child's husband, my married child, don't want to sleep in the same room as their parents / also on the floor. Makes sense. It does make sense, I'll say.
That was an easy learning moment, at least.
Yeah. But that's the end of this episode. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.